Yo, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. So as you can see, I am not in the normal studio. I am in Miami for the next 5 weeks or so, subletting a place for my friends. So I got to build like a new Studio 2.0. It's going to be much better than this. I don't even have the mic stand. It's still in the mail. My PC's in the mail. But we got another fun video for you today. We are going to be looking at the Athletics top 10 contracts in the NHL. If you follow the Athletic, if you have a subscription, if you see them on Twitter, they're very big on the advanced analytics. So this is going to be more of an analytical look at the top 10 contracts in the NHL. I'm going to do my own list probably in like August. I'll revisit like a top 10 best, top 10 worst, maybe look at the worst contract for every single team in the NHL. But today we're going to go through the Athletics top 10. I have not seen this yet. I don't know what it's going to be 1 through 10, but without further ado, let's dive into it. NHL's top 10 best contracts, 2024 edition. I assume it is going to be in order, but it says Jack Hughes. That's kind of a no-brainer. Nathan MacKinnon, though, I mean, he's fantastic. He was like a $16 million player this year, but he's still making 12 points. He's like the second highest paid player in the NHL. So this comes to us from Dom Luchusian. Feel free to go. I like the Athletic a lot. I know some people don't like it, but I think it's a very useful site to read overall. Up first, Gustav Forsling. That's interesting. That's definitely a take. Let me see what they project. Yeah, this is their contract projection. They think he's an $11 million defenseman. I love the deal. It's 8 years, $5.75 million for a guy that's how old? Like 28 years. Oh, he's actually a little bit older. I thought he was like 26. Yeah, I think that this is definitely an analytical darling. I think that, I really like the deal that was signed by Bill Zito. I think that he can be, especially now with Brandon Montour out, he's going to get some serious power play time. I think he can be an $8, maybe $9 million player. So the fact that he's their number one, that's interesting. I maybe would crack my top 10. Maybe, again, 28 years old. He's not even that young. But I think he is great. I'm not trying to shit on Gustav Forsling, but for him to be number one over some of the deals that I think we are going to see, is definitely interesting. My computer's not right below. Usually it's right below, so it's not too distracting. But okay, Jack Hughes number 2. The computer's a little bit over here. Jack Hughes number 2. This makes more sense. I am obviously a big Jack Hughes guy, offensive beast. Well, at least when he's fully healthy, an offensive beast to start this season. Last year, 98 points in 78 games. But when looking at him, you think that he's only going to get better from here. I think this year it's going to be a 105, 110-point season. And considering he's only 23 years old, turned 23 in like May, he was a later birthday for his draft year. He's next season probably going to be $12 to $13 million. And then as he just continues to go into his prime, as the salary cap continues to rise, that's also factored in this. He is definitely one of the best contracts. I think, I don't want to spoil my own top 10, but it's probably going to be Jack Hughes number 1, just because you do have him for the next 6 years at a whopping $8 million. I guess this is like their projection for next season, but yeah, Jack Hughes, that's a no-brainer. So we have Forsling, a little bit of a surprise. Jack Hughes number 2. Gotta think Tim Stützle is going to be on this. They mentioned Nathan MacKinnon. Miro Heiskanen at number 3, $8.45 million. What does he have left? 5 seasons? It's a steal. It's a steal. $14 million for a defenseman is a little bit rich for me. I'm not sure he's quite worth 13.2, but I do agree that if Rasmus Dahlin just got an 8-year deal at around $11 million, I personally think that Miro Heiskanen is better than Rasmus Dahlin, and they're about the same age. He's 1 year older. So I think that Miro Heiskanen, if he was to be a RFA or a UFA this summer, he would legitimately get 8 years, $12.5 million. I don't think that that's ridiculous. The Athletic, their model absolutely loves him because he is very good offensively. He is fantastic defensively. So they're saying he's 14, 15 by the end of this deal. I think Miro Heiskanen probably would crack my top 10. I don't know if he'd be number 3 because, again, only 5 years left. He is getting a decent chunk of change. Adam Fox at number 4, similar rationale here, $9.5 million for the next 5 years. So they're basically, I think their model slightly leans Adam Fox. It's 9.5 versus 8.5. And yeah, Adam Fox, this is a fantastic deal by the New York Rangers, 1,000%. Last year, I probably had him, I think, like 6th or 7th on my list, and it definitely makes sense considering he's only 26, considering this guy is gone for, I did not mean to go through there. Considering he had yet again another 73 points in 72 games this season. The prior year 74 when he won the Norris, he was like around 70ish point. The last 4 years he's been around the 70ish point guy while also playing fantastic defense. It's one of the best deals, no doubt. Josh Morrissey, 5. What does he have? 6. Oh, he has 4 years left. I thought he only had like 2 or 3 years, but this makes sense. $6.25 million. And yeah, the last couple years he has been fantastic. They're projecting him for another 65-point season. Last year, he had, I believe, 69 points. This year, 76. And he's solid defensively. He's not some black hole, like, it was never really like a black hole, but he's not some defensive liability like he maybe was a couple years ago. Like last year, I didn't have him on my Norris ballot because although he did have 76 points, the defensive numbers weren't quite there. This year, he was very solid defensively while also being around 70 points. I think Josh Morrissey is a little bit underrated right now. And I think I definitely agree with this. 4 years left, isn't a ton of term left, but at 6.25 for a legit top 5 defense or top 10 defenseman, that is definitely valid. Matthew Tkachuk, you expected to see him on this kind of list. I believe 6 years left. Yep, 6 years left at $9.5 million. They're projecting him around 96. And yeah, Matthew Tkachuk, last season, 109 points, Hart finalist, dragged them offensively to the Stanley Cup final. I know Bobrovsky was also fantastic, but he was really scoring every clutch goal. This year, got off to an extremely slow start. He had like 5 goals in his first 31 games, but down the stretch, he was yet again like a 110-point player the final 50 games, and in the playoffs was great as well. I agree with this. He's going to be a $13 to $14 million player going forward. He just had that slow start this season because he broke his sternum in the playoffs. That takes time to recover, and he played a lot of hockey last season. So number 6, Matthew Tkachuk. Number 7, Nathan MacKinnon. This is just a testament to how good Nathan MacKinnon is. The fact that he's going to be the second highest paid player in the NHL. But despite that, it is still a fantastic contract. You got to realize, like, guys like Nathan MacKinnon, like an Austin Matthews, Leon Draisaitl, Connor McDavid, obviously, they're honestly worth $16, $17 million. They're not going to sign it because the market dictates, like, it's going to slowly go up. Austin Matthews gets 13.25. Draisaitl is going to get 13.5. But, like, when you actually factor in just how good these guys are, just the fact that Nathan MacKinnon can give you 140 points like he did this season, that's legitimately worth $16 million. That's 2 $8 million players that probably only get you 70, 75 points. That's Nathan MacKinnon. So yeah, the next 7 years, 12.6. He is a little bit older. What is he? 20? He's about to turn 29, I believe. Yeah, in September. He was very early for his draft year. He's like September 10th. Like he just barely missed the cutoff. He was almost a 2014 draftee. But yeah, he's going to be 29. So maybe I think a guy like him will age fantastic. Many great Hall of Fame, future top 30 players of all time age very well. So Nathan MacKinnon's going to be fantastic. Zach Hyman cracks at number 8. What does he have? 4 years left. 4 years left at 5.5. Definitely benefits from playing with Connor McDavid. I don't know if he's going to crack my top 10, but it's a fantastic contract. It's probably the best contract on their books. Maybe McDavid at 12.5. The next 2 years, Draisaitl has 1 year at 8. They're set up very well, at least next season and the following season in terms of contracts. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins might crack this list, honestly, as well. But yeah, Zach Hyman, yes, he does play with McDavid, but he's an elite first liner, only making $5.5 million. $11 million player, I don't know so much. Quinn Hughes, what does he have? 3 years left? Yeah, 3 years left at $7.85 million for a Norris winner. Pretty decent. I do agree with these projections. It's going to be very interesting to see what he signs on his next deal, considering he's probably going to reset the market. Him and Makar come up at the same time. Guys like Heiskanen, Fox, they're not until 5 years from now. Evan Bouchard is up. He could sign an extension right now, but he's not going to reset the market. So Quinn Hughes and Cale Makar, it's going to be interesting. Their 8-year deals could get as high as like 13.5 when they finally sign. But yeah, fantastic deal. Then lastly, Matthew Boldy. I really like this inclusion. I believe he has 6 years left. Yeah, 6 years left at $7 million for a guy that's not only gives you like 35 and 35 at 23 years old, so he's only going to get better. I think he can be a 40 and 40 guy, but he's also fantastic defensively. Him and Joel Eriksson-Ek are such a fantastic two-way duo on the Minnesota Wild, so I would definitely agree with this placement. I think that he's probably going to be on my top 10, considering you're getting him for his entire prime. His last season, he's still only going to be 30 years old. He's only going to get better from here, and already I didn't put him on my top 50, but I think if I had a top 70, a guy like Matthew Boldy would probably be cracking that. And if I was projecting forward, I think he definitely has potential to be a top 30 player in a year or two. Are there any honorable mentions? Sam Reinhart gets an honorable mention despite signing that 8-year, $8.625 million. That's a fantastic deal. How he ages, how he plays next season after shooting 24.5%, that's definitely up for interpretation. Austin Matthews, 4 years at 13.25. I guess if you think like Nathan MacKinnon, which I do, Austin Matthews is like a $15 million player. So even though that's like the highest paid player in the NHL, if he continues to stay healthy and scores 60 goals, that is great. Jesper Bratt just signed this 8-year deal or 7-year deal at 7.75 last year. That's fantastic for a guy that gets you around point per game. Brandon Hagel, he's kicking in an 8-year deal at $6.5 million. So again, for a mid-70s point guy, yes, he plays on a loaded power play, but awesome deal as well. And then Roman Yossi, I think he has 3 years left at 9.5, and the dude was just the Norris runner-up and shows no signs of aging at this point. So yeah, that's his top 10. I'm definitely gonna have some of the go-to guys. Jack Hughes is definitely gonna be on my top 10. But let me know in the comments, what do you think about this? What do you think about the new setup? We actually got some natural light coming in now. It's not just me in my goddamn basement. So let me know in the comments, what do you think about this top 10? Who would you move up? Who would you move down? Who would you put in? Interesting to not see Connor McDavid, but he only has 2 years left at 12.5. So yeah, while he is like a $17 million player, whatever the max is at this point, you only get him for 2 years compared to some of those guys on that list, 5 to as much as like 7 years. There's not as much maybe long-term surplus value, but let me know in the comments, what do you think? I'll be seeing the next one.